Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
As unbelievable as it sounds, this is another Arsenal podcast. That is the Away Gooners podcast. We bring news and reaction from Arsenal fans from all over the world. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Away Gooners podcast. We have got our group back. Hi Bob.
Hey guys, how are you going?
Good. Hi Arun. Welcome back.
Hello. Yeah.
So, Vada Chennai podcast going good?
Yeah, it's going good. We recorded the preview last night, so of course, though we try to be as positive as possible, whatever's happening outside in the transfer market is like making us feel otherwise. So it's a per social media team that's working on overdrive. So hopefully, we can get the team to work on overdrive as well.
That's what I saw a meme about it very recently about how Arsenal are giants or monsters in social media platforms and in kit launches, but on pitch we are just well, we'll talk about that later anyway. But regarding transfers, Bob, so I'm hearing that Aaron Ramsdale deal might be off. Is there any truth to it?
There's been a lot of suggestions that the deal is not moving forward as expected. There were talks which happened yesterday between both the parties, but then Sheffield United has been firm in terms of their asking price, which was in the region of 30 million. And I think we are already bargain pinchers all the time. So, we didn't offer any more than 20 million.
I'm happy that we are bargain pinchers in this scenario.
Yeah, no. So I think time will answer that. We didn't want to. I think it's the guilt which is not making them spend more than 20 million. Having got that for Emi Martinez last season, they just don't want to spend anything, which is already. I mean, people are already rubbing in their face with having sold Emi Martinez to another team. Who has significantly risen their position since he's joined there. I think there will be more rubbing to happen if they pay 30 million for a keeper, thinking that he would be a second choice more likely at the start of the season. So I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but as of this point, that deal looks to be dead at the moment.
Okay, so if say Ramsdale doesn't happen, do we have a plan B? Do we have someone that we want? Because Ramsdale himself we are going for Ramsdale for purely two reasons. At least that's what makes sense, or else the whole deal doesn't make sense. One is the homegrown quota, and the second one is that his ball playing skills, which Leno seems to lack. So whom do we have in replacement, or do we have anyone in replacement? We cannot go for Onana because he's not available. Or he doesn't want to come. He wants to go to a Champions League club and he's not homegrown. So do we have any other options, or are we going to go with fuck this, let's go into with our youth team prospects?
Honestly, I don't think there has been any second choice linked so far, although there are suggestions that at some point during the transfer window, we could potentially move in for Neto. Because as we know, Barcelona is cash strapped, and then Neto is already their second choice goalkeeper. So he would want to look out. And then his agent is Kia Jarbujan, who has got a lot of links with Edu, and then he represents Villarreal and other players, David Luiz before. So there are suggestions that Neto could be a cheaper possible options, although that will rule out the homegrown quota that you're talking about earlier. The other possible thing which could potentially develop during the later part of the transfer window, I mean, I know we are already late, but till towards the end of the transfer window, I see, I think as a backup that we will still move for Sam Johnston, who is relatively available at a much cheaper price than Aaron Ramsdale, should the deal not move at all any further. So those are the only two names being floated in the market. And of course, with the Arsenal fans, they've been calling for Onana to happen, and there's been arguments happening around the fact that even though he cannot actually train until or start playing until November. Technically, September is just a month away, and he could come in and then just start training straight away. That's what is the suggestions. But I don't see any value in that as such, because of the fact that he is already going to be representing Cameroon for the African Cup of Nations. So I don't really see any sense in that deal, considering the fact that we need a backup goalkeeper like yesterday.
that kind of makes sense. We needed a backup goalkeeper yesterday. But Arun,
we do have a Okonko. No, I said we do have a Okonko. So.
But Arun, talking about the deals happening and not happening, what about Willock deal that we have been talking about? That Willock's almost gone, and then there has been talks about that something personal agreements are not happening. It might not happen. Do you have any updates on it?
I just saw something which said exactly what you were mentioning in terms of the player and the club not being able to agree to a personal terms, whereas the clubs have agreed for the transfer fee. The clubs agreeing for the transfer fee makes absolute sense in my head, because like I don't think Arsenal would ever refuse an offer like this for a player like Willock, who's not really in the a part of the first team plans, and might not even get to feature as much as a sub during the season, given that we got Sambi as well. Definitely the club would agree, but personal terms being not agreed is actually a bit of it's surprising for me, because Willock probably played his best football of his career at Newcastle last season, last 7 games, and he knows as well that he's not going to get a better deal than this, and he doesn't feature an Arsenal fan. So at this point, I would definitely expect him to take what Newcastle offer. And I'm sure that he's not earning a lot at Arsenal right now. So whatever they offered is definitely going to be much better than what we possibly could. So given all of this personal rapport and the good form that he had, I would ideally expect him to actually take up the offer. So this, for me, the fact that the personal terms don't seem to have been agreed is very unusual. We cannot blame the club at this point, because we have facilitated the transfer. It has happened, and it's up down to the players' personal terms. But it genuinely seems very surprising. I would expect him to take what he gets, which is definitely going to be good, and go forward. Again, we are talking on speculations. Nothing has been we just are talking based on 1 or 2 reports that came out, and we do not have a clear picture. But that seems to be the situation now, and I'd be really gutted if it does fail and doesn't go through.
One last thing, Bob, before we move on from the transfer news, but I'm hearing that Roma might be back on for Lacazette. So how much do you think there is truth in that? Is that because Tammy Abraham is not ready to move to Rome? Is what is being bandied about in the rumors or news, that whatever I'm hearing? Is there any other reason that this move could actually potentially happen soon?
Yeah, so with the transfer merry-go-round, going around with Lukaku joining or almost on the verge of joining Chelsea, Inter has been really quick in making a move for Edin Zico from Roma, so which means that there is a striker required at Roma quite immediately, and that was why Abraham was actually touted. But there's been some reluctance from Abraham's side of things, in not wanting to move to the Premier League, especially the fact that there's been genuine interest from Arsenal and potentially West Ham as well. So he would want to really further wait to see, what's happening with those deals before he actually makes a move from Chelsea. So I think that's what is causing that to happen. And Roma, in the meanwhile, are trying to drop alternate options if should Abraham not become available, and that's what I think has made them turn towards Lacazette, who is entering his last year of contract, as we spoke about. So there is potential that it could happen, but it's just rumor mill at this point.
But still, Roma, we hope, doesn't play the same game that they played with Xhaka, where they kind of teased us with the whole deal, and then doing a.
I would go a step further and say Roma has better chances with Lacazette than what they had with Xhaka, because they know that Lacazette is in his last year of deal. He's just turned 30, so which means that there is not a lot of value that we could get out of him, and they would have all the and with them they know the fact that we are looking to replace him with Tammy Abraham makes them really the clear higher edge when it comes to this, and then I believe they would actually be having all the bargaining power to actually command what they want out of this.
One last thing, though. Also, I'm hearing that Bayern to Inter might be off because of them moving for some other player.
Was it ever on at some time, or was it just media speculation? It seems like it was just like.
It was more noises, or when people connected with Bayern who were actually looking at Inter as his option. Should they make a move? But I think that never really materialized, as what Arun touched upon. Inter are almost on the verge of signing Dumfries. I think they have made a contact with PSV and they have agreed a fee, as far as what I've read. So which means that until or unless PSV want to take in Bayern, mind you, this is PSV Eindhoven in Holland, not PSG.
No way.
So I'm making it extremely clear in case my accent, is not clear enough. So yeah, that's what is happening. So I don't think there are any parties interested in Bayern at this point as we speak.
How crazy would someone be to think that PSG, who signed Messi recently, would go for Bayern as the right back option, right? And pay a fee when they paid nothing for Messi, right? No, we hear you clear, and we understand clearly, Bob. So now that all the transfer news are off, so we need to move on with the game that's going to happen. Right now, when we are recording, this is two days before the game, and so let me ask the first question. Okay, Arun, are we ready for the start of the season?
No, we are not. We are not. Unfortunately, I don't think we are. But it's sort of good in a way that we start with a team like that has come from the championship, and against teams from like the top 6 right at the beginning. Because if you really see, the first 5 games are usually a hit or a miss. That's when like the team is beginning to play. They especially for a team like us, which haven't how do you call it, finalize their final plans, finalize the final blueprint of how we want to play. Since we have not done that yet, it is actually better, in my opinion, that we play the tough teams at the top, which in relatively 50-50 games, because it's after the 5 games that like the team starts to gel and starts playing better. So given that, yeah, for me, it's a good start that we have. I mean, either way would have been good, but this is good as well. But if you ask me, are we ready? No, because in my head, we haven't strengthened ourselves in anywhere, in any position. If you really look at the first team players that we have, the only addition that we've made is Ben White. Apart from that, we pretty much have the same team as last time. We are still stuck with the right back issue, where we do not know, where we have 3 of the right backs ready, but none of them fit the system, and we'll have to play with sort of the best of the best. Again, with the goalkeeping situation, we have only Leno, who's like one minor accident away from us starting with Okonkwo. You guys laughed at me when I said it at the beginning, but that's the reality of the situation, right? So
it's not a mockery of your point. It's mockery of what we are as Arsenal fans.
Club. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like we've strengthened our left back. Yeah, we did get Ben White, and probably he's going to be starting the first game with maybe Mari. Yeah, that's one improvement. But apart from that, you look across the pitch, we do not really have made any improvements. Sambi is going to be playing instead of Partey, probably, hopefully, instead of El Neni. But Xhaka is still there. Not that Xhaka is a bad player or anything. He's not a great player either. Like, so we are still left with the same limitations that we had last season. So to be honest, I am really not that very confident.
We are never that confident. That's the whole point of being an Arsenal fan. If you haven't gotten the memo after all these years, but still, Bob, we know we are not ready. We know, absolutely sure, we know that we are not ready. And also, Arun made a point that like it's better to have all these tougher games in front, and then we can have all the games that are winnable in the second half or whatever, right? Or whenever we are ready. Right? Are we ever going to be ready is the first question. And the second question is, we went through a phase last year where the first half of the season was generally a write-off, where we kind of lost everything. We didn't have anything until December. We didn't do anything, and that didn't help us in any way. So there is no point in having this view of like, let's have this all bunched up together so that we'll lose or we'll tinker around a little bit till we are good. That doesn't seem to work.
See, it's a classic case of nothing is ever going to work for us. There
is an Arsenal fan right there. What Arsenal does to people?
I thought I was bad. Bob threw the towel in right away. I wasn't expecting this.
We used to commonly use this term during the Wenger era called as the smoke screen, right? Wenger used to constantly keep coming out and saying, we've got the best squad to challenge for Premier League, and he used to keep his poker face to remind us. Only we knew the answer to that after all these years. So I don't think, buddy. I see the way that every team around you is getting improved. I mean, last team, I read through some of these BBC pundits' predictions, and they actually mentioned that a couple of them admitted that we were wrong in even putting Arsenal in a top 4 position. None of them even rate Arsenal to be in a top 16, which is the sad reality. I mean, the way that things are improving around, you can't just keep going for like people to fill in bodies and then try and grind out results with the personnel that we have. That's not happening. The game is evolving, and I think we have to be moving on with that, and that doesn't seem to happen for whatever reasons it may be. And if you ask me whether the first half is going to be better or the second half is going to be better, what I see is the dark contrast. By May, the Premiership is already decided, and teams who are actually at the top are either fighting for Champions League places, which is not going to be a massive difference sort of a thing. They are right on the top, and they either can choose to lose against us, knowing the fact that there is nothing at stake, or there is not that we are going to climb above them in any way. So it's almost a case where we are chasing shadows, which we are never going to catch. And we will end up winning a few games in between here and there. But that's not, again, going to cause a massive difference in terms of where we stand at the end of the window. So if you ask me, I mean, we say every game is important and all those sort of things. But I think within the players' heads and then within the manager's head, I don't know, maybe there is an underlying feeling that they are not going to last long with the current team and the current crop of players, with the opposition that we have, with the quality that is been coming in, and with the amount of games, even despite the fact that we are not in Europe and we have better, rest as compared to other teams, we are not going to mount any challenge to any of them. That's a sad fact.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. On this thing.
I don't really have any further to say. So
no. Actually, we can have this doom and gloom in the podcast that we are about to have about the season preview. This is going to be a game preview, so let's not talk about where we are going to end up, and that's going to make me cry before even the season starts. That's not a good view for it. But talking about the first game, Arun. So let me check this quickly with you, right? Does the preseason ever give you any indication of what we are going to do in the first game? because I don't know what is going to be the formation. We have seen in preseason, we have played with a back four, we have played with a back three. We have played the high line. That looks to be something that we have been doing. Although playing high line against Chelsea and Spurs, we have seen that we are getting turned over by the first ball that goes over our top. So are we going to do the same thing? Is that the blueprint of the team that we are going to play, like the first game at least?
I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer right now. I really don't know. I mean, you're right. Though you don't want to associate a lot with the results that you get from your preseason games, ideally you would like to see some sort of a semblance of what is going to happen during the season. You would expect your manager and the players to actually like put something out on the pitch that would give you some idea or confidence as a fan that this is how my team is going to play and this is what I can expect from my team. Let's leave the results aside, like in terms of the final result of the game. You would like to see some sort of a performance from the players. In our preseason so far, like you mentioned, we were not able to actually see what is our formation going to be, what are we going to play. All that we know is that we are trying to play out from the back, and that has been like the narrative since the beginning of last season. But now that we've been talking about it continuously, at this point in time, you would expect the team to have at least like mastered that to a bit, right? We were not able to see any of that during the preseason. Like usually when a team plays like this and you're able to see that they are getting good at it, it'll be very obvious in the preseason, and the way in which we pass, the confidence with which we move. That sort of a confidence was not visible at any point. There were no sweeping moves. There was no like proper build-up that actually resulted in a goal or went all the way. They were just like bits and pieces, which doesn't, like I told you right at the beginning, it doesn't really inspire confidence in me as a fan going into the season. I would obviously, as cynical I might be, I would definitely want the team to win. Like I'm not one of those who would want the team to lose just so like we can get Arteta out and I can prove a point. I'm not of that type. But the fact that the team we don't seem to have improved significantly, even in terms of personnel or in terms of what we are supposed to be seeing on the pitch, is very worrisome, and that doesn't give me any confidence at all. That doesn't make me seem good going into the season. So that's where I feel there is a problem, and that's why I think like it's going to affect us, and yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, but there is something that we cannot control, and there are some things that we can control. The one thing that we can control right now as Arsenal is that we have a first game that's coming up, and we have these set of players who we know is good enough or not good enough or whatever, but these are the players that we have, right? So let's go through it by position. And the biggest worry for me has been with the forward, and we've always talked about this in our pod and in a lot of other platforms, that people have been talking about how Arsenal are not able to get as many goals as we used to get, or free flowing as we used to be. But Bob, if you consider it, our forward line consists of 3 players whom we have spent the most money on till now in Arsenal history. We have Pepe, who's 72 million. We have Aubameyang. We have Lacazette. But there is no combination of these 3 players that work on the pitch. If we put all these 3 players on the pitch, there is no combination that works on. For me personally, I think even Aubameyang and Pepe doesn't work together. So
see, I think it's an open secret, right? That there is a massive hole behind all these attacking talent that we have.
But Bob, I'm not worried about the hole that is the number 10 position. For me, even the forward line doesn't work. If we take out Saka, if we put, say, Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang on the pitch, there is not anyone who does something different. There's not anyone who is. I don't see the pattern of play, or I don't see the chance creation from those 3.
Because there isn't any, and we are looking for individual magic to be. I think you don't overthink it. We're just looking for personnel to step up at that point in time, and then try and do something that from there can based on the experiences that they've gained over the years. That's basically what we are looking at, because we don't have enough quality to fill in. We're just filling up numbers and people in. I mean, mind you, they are actually good players. I'm not going to blame Aubameyang or Pepe or anyone, but there is no connectivity between the attack and the defense, or doesn't move together as a unit, as what we can see in the recent times at least. And that's prevalent from the pre-season games that we played. There wasn't any coherence within the team, which would suggest you that, we are actually doing this sort of a movement very well, and then you could do a link-up play between these players. Nothing of those sorts have happened so far, which is a sort of a worrying thing. So yeah, to answer your question, possibly there isn't any going to be, but we're just looking for moments of inspiration from players on the pitch to actually do those moves and then make things happen. It also massively depends upon how good the opposition is standing against your will, or if they've got a very clear game plan against you, then it's very unlikely, with crowds as well supporting them. It's the first game of their season, so it's going to be a massive test for us. That's what I feel.
Arun, we kind of talked about it a little bit, I think, even before, about Aubameyang's goal drought or his expected goals or whatever, right? But all this is considering that Aubameyang is our central striker. I mean, we gave him a bumper contract, and we are asking him to play out of position, while we are asking Lacazette to play up front. We are asking Aubameyang to play left. Is that what, I mean, before you get on to is that how you are seeing our forward line shape up for this game? Like Aubameyang on the left, Lacazette through the center, and Pepe on the right. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah. That's right. That's what I think is going to happen. Mainly because Saka is he's just come back, and I don't think like he would be thrust into action right away. And Pepe, with his performances at the end of last season, has sort of made him I wouldn't say undroppable, but like sort of makes him like one of the first names on the sheet. And Saka has to be there. But since Saka is not going to be available, I'm assuming that we would definitely start with Lacazette and Aubameyang. And it is going to be a little painful to watch. So yeah, that's what's going to happen.
That's the understatement of the year. A little painful to watch. Is this again, right? Like the whole point is what I don't get is are we trying to copy what Liverpool has done with Firmino being the link-up striker? I mean, Lacazette is not Firmino. He cannot create and be at the end of things. And I mean, we have quality in Pepe and Aubameyang, but they are still not Salah and Mane, who could do that consistently. So is this even something that we should be trying or aspiring to, Arun?
I don't think we are trying to go the Liverpool way, because Liverpool do not as effectively play out from the back, and their game is more based on their pressing. So it's a lot on the Gegen pressing, getting the ball quickly from the opposition, and then using your width of the fullbacks, because they do not have a creator in the middle, right? So that's why they use the width of the fullbacks to get their goals. But for us, it's not that particular reason why we want our centre forward to be more involved on Firmino. I understand what you mean in terms of like the centre forward being more passive and being more comfortable playing with his back to the goal and getting the wingers in. In that aspect, it definitely resembles that. But like everything that happens before and after that, like the centre forward actually trying to bring people into the game is very different from what we do and what Liverpool does. So in the aspect of just like being someone who can bring people in, that works. But Lacazette has shown in the past that he can actually do it. He can actually play with his ball to the back and bring people in, whereas Auba has never been able to do that. So we have a great problem in our hands right now, whether we want to go with the captain and the guy who earns 350k, or with the person who seems more suited to the style of play. But I think given the current contract situation, given the fact that we have a 350k Auba with us, it's going to be like trying to make Auba fit into the system in the long run. We're hearing talks about Lacazette being linked with teams like Roma, like Bob mentioned before. So, and with the 1 year contract situation, he's the one who looks like moving, more likely to move if at all that something happens, right? So, in terms of the plan for the long term for the season, it is definitely going to be Aubameyang who will be in the middle. But anything can happen in this game. Like if Lacazette doesn't get a move, and if we actually see that he's more suited to like this formation and the style of playing out from the back, the build up and getting people to carry the ball that we're trying to play, then we might even see, like I said, getting a weird contract extension and continuing to be the starter with Auba as a power sub. You'll never know with this club. So
you never know with the club, yes, but but the forward line frustrates me. But still, we do have something good in other places, right, Bob? As in, like ESR has been looking
good is what you define it to be. So
no, but that is also true. I mean, with ESR in, the problem of the final carry or the ball reaching the box, because that was the problem that we had during the early part of the last season, where we didn't reach the box. We were playing all around it. And when the ball arrives in the box, it comes from Tierney's cross, right? That's the only way the ball was arriving into the box, or Saka's cross. That the cross is where the only way that was coming in. But now we have ESR, who is trying to do something like being a ball carrier or doing that intricate passing. Do you see that as a positive thing, Bob?
The worrying thing for me when fans mention about ESR is he's being looked at as a Superman who could actually carry us across the This is really baffling beyond a point of imagination, because he's just a kid who has had a half decent season. He is good, I have no doubts about that, and he'll continue to be doing good, which is why the club has trusted in him in giving a new contract and giving him the number 10 jersey. But expecting him to perform like that week in, week out is very hard, especially when it comes to the hardest league, which is obviously the Premier League. It's very hard. He can actually be the link-up player, but he needs help. He needs creativity as well, apart from what he can do, which is where a deep-playing midfielder, if he can actually take some of his burdens and play some sort of a box-to-box, or be creative in terms of how we can actually link up with the attackers, that can actually pave a lot of good things, and it can help ESR moving on to the left, and then drifting in, whatever that he can do, which is good. I mean, the last season, the reason as to why he became more successful was the fact that he was giving freedom to roam and nothing was actually at stake. The season ended even before we started playing well. So we didn't have anything further to lose. I mean, the only other saving grace was we are not going to be relegated. So that was actually a good thing.
We were basically stripped naked. So there's no going beyond that. So
yeah. So ESR can do good, but it's very hard for him to do game in, game out every week and for 38 games through the season. It's very hard.
But he seems to be the one who is quickening the play, Arun. And the other reason that Bob brought up, I mean, I only asked for that to come up, the midfield partnership. Now that Partey is out, we do have El Nini and we do have Lokonga. I mean that comes in from a place where we know that Xhaka is going to be a nail-on starter. Like, there's not going to be anyone else. Xhaka is going to be the one person there who's going to stay there. And I personally would prefer him to go with Lokonga based on whatever I've seen till now. I know there's going to be a difference between the Belgian league and Premier League and all those things, but we know that Xhaka and El Nene doesn't work. And we know we want something else to happen. And Xhaka is not someone who's going to do the ball carry, or like, he's going to be good at some things, but definitely not at ball progression in the traditional way. And Lokonga seems to be someone who could do that, even though he's 21. So what are your thoughts on that part of the pitch, Arun? Like, are you going for, I mean, we know what we wish for, but what are you seeing that Arteta is going to do? He's going to play Lokonga or El Nini?
I take the what we wish for part of out of it. I know what we don't wish for, which is a Saka El Nini combo, and I'm hoping that Arteta doesn't play it. I mean, like, that combo, like you said, is dead. The ball doesn't move forward at all, and it becomes basically like a game where we are mostly in our half of the pitch. The ball mostly stays in our half of the pitch with the off chance of it moving forward. And we might also find our fullbacks sometimes way too high up the pitch, waiting for the ball, whichever comes, So this is the problem if we do start Xhaka and Nene, the static nature of the midfield. I am hoping that we start Sambi. I was actually thinking very much that we are going to be going with Xhaka and Nene, but the more I see Sambi's game, the more I feel that he's going to be more suited and will be able to easily adapt to this position of Partey's replacement while he's gone through injury or when he goes to AFCON. So in that aspect, I see him to be like a very good prospect there. His versatility means that he could also be a future number 6 replacing Xhaka in that position. So it's a great acquisition that we made, and I'm hoping that like he starts the first game. That's my expectation. I think Arteta might do that too, because a game like Brentford with a team that has just been promoted provides a very good opportunity for someone who is making his debut rather than having to make his debut against a City or a Chelsea. If you want to really feel the pulse of the league, if you want to really actually see the game, then I don't think there would be a better chance than actually having to play some team that has just come in from the championship, that has just gotten promoted and would be very eager and willing to play and show what they can do. So that would also mean that we would get, as a seasoned Premier League team, there's a possibility of us getting opportunities to score goals and do better. So I am very happy with, like I told already, with the schedule, and I'm hoping that we start Sambi, Danj, El Neni. We do not have a lot of options at that point. It either has to be one of these two, and I'm hoping that it's Sambi, Dan, El Neni.
But this all like this for me, I think this midfield is going to be defined by what we are or who we are going to select or what formation we are going to play at the back. If we are going to go for, and I literally don't know if we are going to go for a back 3 or a back 4. And if we are, we know that there is going to be two mainstays, which is White and KT, right? Tierney and White are the two people that we know for sure they are going to be there, irrespective of if it is going to be a back 3 or a back 4. Do you see a back 3 or a back 4? And if you see, which one is the one that you see is going to be the, who are the other players that are going to be there?
Personally, from my opinion, I think we will start off with a 4-2-3-1 with a back 4. And then as the game moves on, depending upon however it may go towards, we will be more fluid in moving to a 3-5-2-1 sort of a thing. But I think for sure at the beginning that we will start off with a 4-2-3-1, 4 at the back, with Mari and White being the center halves that I can think of, with Tierney and Chambers in either of those flanks. That's what would be my prediction in the defense side of things. This is more considering that we know that Mari doesn't have as much pace, so it's more like a formation which protects the defense better. And at the same time, if needed to be, we can actually switch the formations and move in for an attack if needed to be.
But are you going with Chambers? Because in the preseason, we have seen that Bellerin has been getting a lot of chances to play on the right, and he has been bad in some of the games. Let's be frank about that. But do you see Bellerin getting a nod ahead of Chambers?
I think so. I think there is a genuine thing going on behind the scenes at Arsenal that they are looking for offers for Bellerin. And since that being the case, and since as well being the fact that we have one or two as backups with Cedric and Chambers, we would go in for someone who would be looked at as a long-term option than someone who can actually fill in once after Bellerin leaves. So since having that option, I think we would be going in for Chambers, considering he isn't so bad.
One last thing, Arun, before we talk about Brentford a little bit, I think. So we do have this this thing called like game management, which Arteta has been really not so good. Let me put it in a softer way, because we have been going all negative on this game prediction. We have Saka, whom we could bring on from the bench to provide an impact. But apart from Saka and maybe Tavares, but again, Tavares is replacing Tierney, so it's not actually like bringing in an impact that is not there. So apart from those two, do you see anyone else that you could bring on from the bench in case you need to make an impact? Say Willian.
I can, without saying Willian, I can already name two people, which are Kolasinac and Torreira. So I don't know what you're talking about when you say Willian. But yeah, to be being serious, yeah, we do not have it. That's why I said we are not. When I said I am not confident going into the season, though the game schedule is good, this is what I meant. Our first 11, even our first 11, we haven't improved. Forget about the bench. Forget about the people outside of the first 11. Outside of Ben White, we don't even seem to have improved the first 11. When it comes to impact players, we generally don't look for impact players in the defensive side of things. These are the guys who are going to be able to come in, move the ball forward, make the gameplay faster, create stuff or score goals and all that. With Saka being in the bench and not ready probably to start the game, we do not have any other impact player at all, which is very true. Maybe Tavares could come in and play at the top of the pitch if we do need, but then we do already have other people in there. We have Martinelli, we have Willian, and we have Nelson as well. So, and we have seen that these guys have not been able to create the impact that is required to turn a game around when it is most needed, right? So in terms of impact players, yeah, I do not see anything. That's the main reason why I'm going into the season without any confidence. Your ability of your first 11 doesn't determine whether you win the game or not. It's the ability of your squad that actually determines. Because in Premier League, as Mourinho famously said in All or Nothing, till the 80th minute, a 2-0 lead is not a safe lead at all. The last 10 minutes, teams can come back and score and equalize. So at that point, you need players who can prevent that from happening. And if you find yourself on the other side, you need players who can help you overcome that. If you look at the squad, we do not have anyone whom we can, of course, we have Elneny, but even him, he cannot be 100% trusted to secure a 2-0 lead or a 2-1 lead with 10 minutes left. You can try, but there's...
Let me stop you right there. Brentford, on whatever we are seeing, from whatever I have seen of Brentford in the couple of things, they don't seem to be like the team where we would be 2-0 up at the 80th minute.
It's hypothetical. I'm not even just looking at the Brentford situation alone. I mean, just in terms of whom we have and the games we have, this seems to be the situation, right? We do not have anyone to call upon to protect a lead. We do not have anyone to turn the game around in case we are behind. So, this for me is a huge failure, a huge mismanagement on part of the team, going into a season like this, from the people up there, like Edu and all. So confidence, no. In terms of an impact player, no, we do not have one yet. Maybe when everyone starts getting match fit, and if we get to a situation where one of Alba Laka starts and the other one is on the bench, then maybe at that point we would be a bit confident. But even then, we are still left with the same players that we had last time, right? There is no one impact player that we've got now. So I really don't know. Whatever way you try to change this permutation combination, it doesn't really inspire confidence in terms of an impact player.
Bob, so let me pull that back to our opposition, because that is something that as Arsenal or famously Arsene Wenger would never do, to even think about our opposition. It's all about us. So let me see.
Let me ask you one thing there. By opposition, do you mean Brentford or ourselves, like Arsenal?
No, so Brentford, they play a 3-5-2. And they have a very attacking manager in Thomas Frank, right? I mean, they are similar to what Leeds are. They attack and attack, waves and waves of attack. That's what they do. And they have had a really good friendlies. I mean, preseason friendlies. If you see, they won against Valencia 2-1, and they won against Watford with a 3-goal one. And they also drew against United on a 2-2 draw. Which means that they are coming into this game with a very good form. So
they are with a massive confidence, and there is every indication that we would be the one chasing the game, sort of a thing, because it's their first game of a season, of a Premier League season, after like what, 74 years, and then they are playing in front of their crowd. There is so much optimism for them to look out for, more than us. As compared to us, we are just a damn draw for them. So they would really be
sorry to cut you off, Bob. I'll give you a bit of a stat that will give you some confidence going into the game. The last time we played them, we won 3-1. I think it was a 2018 Carabao Cup. And the two goals were scored by Well-Beast. Now, if that doesn't give you confidence, I don't know what is going to.
Okay.
So go on.
Since you brought that up, I have actually compiled a few stats from my side, which I would want to showcase to you guys, and then as well for our listeners. So the last time that Brentford was actually in the first division, back at that time there was no Premier League, so there was first division. We were fortunately the last team to play them on their ground, which they lost 1-0 to us. That was a time, as I mentioned, that was during 26th of May 1947.
47, yes.
Even before there was an independent India, so it was still ruled by British. So if you look at that season, can you guys take a guess in terms of where we finished that season?
47, maybe third,
eighth.
Okay. It's got a strange coincidence with the day that we are starting the league. So we finished 13th that season. Still 2 places above Chelsea finished. Chelsea finished 15th that season. Okay, so that was a bit of a solace. It's not just about us losing, right? It makes us more happy about that. But there is again a positive to take from that. The season after, we finished first. So maybe there are still worse things to come this year.
Don't give us hope, Bob. Don't give us hope.
There is no hope of us finishing first.
I was just preparing yourself to say, if you're thinking 8th is bad, then imagine 13th is still not bad, considering the fact that we might win the next season. Okay. Now, our record against Brentford, we've played about 10 games so far, and then we've won 2 of them, drawn 3, lost 5 of them. Right? As what Arun mentioned, yes, the last result was actually in September 2018 when we won 3-1 against them. That was our home. If you look at the last time that they won, it was again in September, but in the year 1938 when they actually won against us at their ground. So that's pretty much how it was. Now, I just wanted to give a rough stats in terms of how we fared against on the opening day. So of those 29 times that we've played so far, I mean, this is just comparing the Premier League era.
Premier League,
okay?
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the old English First Division and all those sort of things. Post the Premier League era, we've played 29 times in the opening season, won 16 of them, drawn 6 and lost 7. So there's been a lot of optimism to say that we could potentially win one more, 30th season. Now, coming to the important day, which is the 13th of Friday, of all the days, I've drawn parallels to the 13th August, not the day of Friday. 13th of August, the last 2 times that Premier League has started. Not necessarily Arsenal have started on the day, but the days when Premier League has started on the 13th of August. Now, I'll give you a bit of a stats, and then you tell me what is the season that you prefer to emulate, right? So the last 2 times that we've actually started the league on the 13th of August is during the 2016-17 season, and also before in the 2011-12 season. Now, in the 2016-17 season, we managed to get 75 points, as opposed to in the 2011-12 season that we got only 70 points, right? Also, we had Lukaku playing in the Premier League in the 2016-17 season, and he scored 25 goals, one more than Alexis Sanchez. And then we signed Xhaka. So, but in the 2011-12 season, we had one of our players, Van Persie, who got the Golden Boot. Now tell me, which one of these two seasons would you want to emulate at this point in time?
11 and 12 for me, definitely.
Okay. If you had said 11 and 12, we got 70 points. We finished third that season. That was the season that we lost 8-2 against Manchester United. Yeah. So we drew the first game against Newcastle away. We lost Liverpool at home, and then the third game was this monstrous 8-2 loss at United. City were crowned the champions. I mean, that was actually on goal difference, as you would all remember. So, in essence, with the season that we finished with 75 points on during the 2016-17 season, that we managed to finish fifth. And that was the first time after 1997 that we didn't really qualify for the Champions League. And that's probably the last time that we came that close, I would say. And it's going to take a while before we get that close again. So, yeah, I mean, stats prove a lot of things. But then it as well makes us more miserable looking at the current team and then looking at how we punched beyond weight year over year. And when people used to laugh at us, with fourth being a trophy, now we get the feeling that fourth is indeed a trophy.
Oh, those are amazing stats, Bob. I am still reeling at the point where we are still talking about the season where Xhaka joined as a positive one to what we have right now. But again, guys, we are almost drawing to the end. So let's do a predictions, a round of predictions. Arun, do you want to start with the round of predictions? For the
Sure, I think we will win 2-1.
Are you sure you are ready to go into the win prediction?
Yes, I'd like to change things this time around, and I'd like to start with the win. I mean, let's see what happens this time around. I'll be bold and I'll go for a 2-1 win.
Bob, do you have any predictions on it?
I have a bit of a jitters about this one, so I feel this would be a 1-1 draw. I think Aubameyang will get into the score sheet, but as will Ivan Toney be. So I feel this would be a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
What do you feel?
I am going for a 2-0 draw because that's what
2-0 cannot be a draw because as much as you try.
Arsenal could. There is nothing that we cannot do. But 2-0 win to Arsenal. That's what I am hoping for, and I think we might keep a clean sheet given that Brentford had a bit of a wobble in their midfield where they've sold their midfielder. I don't remember his name, but they sold him, and so I think we would have the midfield battle won. So we might go for a clean sheet, and I see at least like Pepe and Aubameyang or Pepe and Lacazette scoring. So that's the hope. But anyways, we are having a start to the season soon, and it's been a nice one, guys. Thanks so much for joining in today. Hopefully talk to you next time after the win. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Come on, you Ganesh.